Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button because today's story might change the way you look at the smallest coins lying forgotten in drawers, old jars, and dusty cupboards. Many of my viewers are men in their 50s, 60s, and beyond, and let me tell you something, the treasures you're sitting on are often the ones you least expect. Today's coin is a perfect example of that. A simple piece of bronze, a small circle of metal from 1974, a coin most people would walk past without a second thought. Yet behind this humble South African 1 cent is a story that reaches deep into history, design, craftsmanship, and surprising collector passion. Picture this. It's 1974. South Africa is minting millions of these 1 cent coins, each one pressed with precision. On one side, the national coat of arms stands proudly, representing a country with a complex past and a rich heritage. Carved with care, every line and symbol meant something to the people who held it. The date, 1974, sits quietly underneath, as if marking not just a year, but a moment in time. And beside all of that, the initials of the engraver who shaped its identity. Flip it over, and you find 2 Cape sparrows perched on a thin branch, a calm and beautiful moment captured forever in metal. It's almost poetic, really. The smallest coin showing the simplest piece of nature. Now, the truth is, this coin wasn't designed to be rare. More than 50 million were minted that year, enough for everyone to hold at least one in their pocket. Kids used these coins for sweets and snacks. Adults used them to buy newspapers or pay for small errands. For many men watching this, you might remember the feel of these coins in your hand, the weight of them jingling in your change, the color of the bronze catching sunlight as you held it between your fingers. And yet, time has a way of turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. Coins that were once everywhere now sit hidden in collections, lost in old tins, or tucked away in forgotten wallets from decades past. Collectors today look at coins for more than just rarity. They look for personality, history, craftsmanship, uniqueness. And the 1974 South African 1 cent has all of that. It's a coin from a time when designs were detailed and beautiful, when engravers took pride in bringing realism into tiny spaces, when even the smallest denominations still looked like a piece of art. And that's why this coin continues to attract attention. Now, while it's true that millions were made, condition makes all the difference. A coin that spent years in circulation, rubbing against countless hands and pockets, will naturally lose detail. The coat of arms will blur. The sparrows will look softer. The edges will smooth out. But every now and then, someone finds a coin in surprisingly good condition. Maybe it was kept aside. Maybe it never circulated. Maybe it sat untouched for decades. And when a collector sees sharp lines, strong shine, and crisp edges, that's when the excitement begins. Men who enjoy collecting know the satisfaction of holding something that survived time. Something that tells a story. Something real. Not a digital image. Not a number in a bank account. But a physical piece of history. A coin like this connects you to a different era, to people who used it, to moments that came and went long before today. And that's why collectors keep searching. Because every now and then, a common coin surprises you by being in uncommon condition. This 1 cent from 1974 is a perfect entry point for anyone starting their journey into collecting. It's affordable, it's meaningful, and it's part of a series that tells a wider story of a nation. Veterans of the hobby appreciate it because it reminds them of simpler collecting days, when finding a coin wasn't about luck alone, but about curiosity, patience, and genuine interest. And younger collectors respect it for its design and its place in history. Now think for a moment. How many small items from 1974 do we still use or even see today? Technology has changed. Businesses have come and gone. Entire industries have transformed. Yet this tiny coin remains. Still recognizable. Still collectible. Still able to spark conversations and intrigue. That's the power of numismatics. It doesn't matter how small a coin is. It matters what it represents, what it carries forward, what it reminds us of. You might be watching this with that same coin sitting somewhere in your home. Maybe it came from your father or grandfather. Maybe you found it in your old belongings. Maybe you picked it up because it looked interesting. If you have one, take a closer look at it after this video. Look at the details, the age, the color. You're not just holding a coin, you're holding a piece of time, and as with all coins, stories grow. Legends grow. Myths grow. People start wondering if one specific version or one special strike might have slipped through the cracks. That's part of what keeps collectors engaged. The possibility that one coin out of millions might have something different about it. Something unique. Something that elevates it far beyond its original value. Before we wrap up, let me leave you with something powerful. While the 1974 South African 1 cent itself is not a rare treasure of unimaginable worth, the world of coin collecting has seen unbelievable surprises, extraordinary finds, hidden gems that turned into life-changing discoveries. And in the world of numismatics, there are coins, rare, historic, exceptional coins, that have sold for staggering amounts. Some have even reached as high as $16 million.
Welcome to Rent to Riches, your trusted gateway into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and forgotten currency history. From ancient empires to modern rarities, we uncover the stories, values, and secrets behind some of the world's most remarkable coins. Whether you're a collector, a history lover, or simply curious, we bring you well-researched insights, real coin values, and expert commentary you won't find anywhere else. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because every coin has a story, and Coinazy Pulse is here to tell it. You may not immediately realize that a single small coin can carry within it the echoes of a nation's history, its politics, its culture, and the very spirit of times long past. But the 1989 South African 1 cent coin is one such artifact, modest in appearance, yet loaded with story and symbolism. Let me take you on a journey through its life, its meaning, and why it can stir passion among collectors. Picture the year 1989, South Africa was on the cusp of transformation. Though apartheid was still in place, the winds of change were stirring. In this world, day-to-day commerce still used coins like the 1 cent, the less glamorous but indispensable parts of currency. It was minted in bronze, composed of a mixture of copper, tin, and a little zinc. Munstuck International Coins +2 Online Coin.Club +2 This version of the 1 cent had been produced since 1965 in the bronze form, replacing earlier versions. Online Coin.Club +1 When you hold this coin, its modest diameter of about 19.05 mm and weight of 3 grams might not impress at first glance, but that simplicity belies the depth beneath. Munstuck International Coins +2 Online Coin.Club +2 On one side, the obverse, you see the South African coat of arms as it stood then. Around it, in both English and Afrikaans, the words SUID Africa and South Africa, and the date 1989. Beneath the arms are initials PLS, indicating Arthur Sutherland, designer of the obverse. Online Coin.Club +2 Munstuck International Coins +2 Flip it over, and the reverse reveals a quiet but elegant scene, 2 Cape sparrows perched on a branch. Above, the denomination 1C in plain relief. Below, you'll find tiny initials TS for Tommy Sassin, the reverse designer. Online Coin.Club +2 Munstuck International Coins +2 The birds are not grand or dramatic, they are simple, everyday creatures, yet their presence feels poetic, as though they whisper the passage of common life. What makes the 1989 coin especially interesting is that it was the final year for that style of 1 cent in bronze. After that, changes were made, smaller coins, later copper-plated steel issues, shifts in design. Online Coin.Club +2 and .foronum.com +2 Thus, this coin stands as a closing chapter of a particular era. In fact, the mint records show that about 337.8 million of these bronze 1C coins were struck. Last Dodo +3 Online Coin.Club +3 Munstuck International Coins +3 Because of such high mintage, as a circulated coin its rarity is not high, but condition, originality, and aesthetic appeal can make a big difference. Now imagine a collector's perspective. You acquire a specimen with sharp detail, minimal wear, deep original toning. The arm's lines are crisp, the sparrow's feathers still defined, the feels relatively smooth. That coin feels like a time capsule. You might reflect on the contrast between that fragile moment and the historical forces swirling around it, social change, political tension, the closing years of a system under pressure. You might pause and think about the symbolism of the two sparrows. Though humble, they endure. In a way, they mirror ordinary citizens living through times of complexity, taking root in daily life even while larger currents shift around them. They remind us that history, in the end, is made up of many small moments lived by countless everyday people. You might also consider the coat of arms side, a shield divided into quarters showing symbols for the provinces, an ox wagon, a tree, the crown, the supporters, the animal figure standing guard. That coat of arms attempts to convey unity, identity, heritage, authority. Its presence on a common small coin is a reminder, even the smallest denominations carry the symbolic weight of the state and its narrative. Over time, that coin leaves circulation. It slips into jars, drawers, wallets that are forgotten. It travels across borders, perhaps picked up by someone in another country, drawn by curiosity. It becomes a collectible, a piece of numismatic interest rather than mere pocket change. As decades pass, its value shifts, not because of its face value, but due to how collectors perceive it, how many survive in good condition, and how much its story resonates. Collectors might compare multiple specimens, which has better surfaces, which shows full mint luster still preserved, which has avoided damage or abrasions. The coin with more original features, fewer strikes against it, more pleasing toning or patina, that one commands attention. Some may find examples in proof or uncirculated states, those carry appeal. Occasionally, one may spot a stray variety or minor striking difference. Those would be even more prized by specialists. In presenting this coin to an audience, one might narrate its journey from mint to pocket, to draw, to collector's album. You talk about its material, its weight, its designers, the context of South Africa in 1989, the fact that it was the last year of that coin style, the large total mintage but limited survival in pristine condition, and the aesthetic pleasure of a beautifully preserved example. You might share close-up photos to show detail in the coat of arms and the sparrows. You might mention stories of collectors who fell in love with its quiet charm. In doing so, you help your audience feel that the coin is more than a disc of metal, it's a fragment of time, a whisper across decades. Then, at the end, when someone hears the number, they're struck by the contrast. How something so humble, once worth only 1 cent in everyday commerce, can be coveted, studied, and prized. A remarkable example of this coin in superb condition was recently listed at $6,650.
Before we dive in, take a moment to hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy stories about hidden treasure, rare coins, and history hiding in plain sight, this is the place for you. Now imagine this. You're sorting through an old drawer. Maybe it's your late father's toolbox, a box from your military days, or just a forgotten coin jar tucked away for years. You pull out a tiny bronze coin. Faded, simple, barely bigger than your thumbnail. You turn it over. It says 1 cent. The date? 1975. Country? South Africa. You smile. Just a penny, right? Worthless. Or is it? What if I told you that little coin might be worth a small fortune? No joke. In fact, there's a version of that 1975 South African 1 cent coin that some claim is worth up to $3 million. Not 300, not 3,000, but $3 million. You might be sitting on something bigger than you ever imagined. Let's take a step back. The 1970s were a turbulent time in South Africa. Political change was brewing. The world was shifting. And while these coins were minted in large numbers, only a few were ever preserved in perfect condition. Even fewer might contain tiny minting errors or rare qualities invisible to the untrained eye. But collectors, real collectors, they notice. And they're willing to pay, sometimes beyond belief. This coin is made of bronze, roughly 3 grams in weight, modest in appearance. On one side, 2 Cape sparrows perched together, delicate and proud. On the other side, the country's name and the year of minting, 1975. It's not flashy. It's not shiny gold or sparkling silver. But what makes it special isn't just the metal. It's the mystery. See, over 60 million of these coins were minted. Most were used, scratched, dented, spent, lost. Time wore them down. People ignored them. And yet, in the middle of all those coins, there are whispers of a few, just a few, that were never meant to be seen. Maybe a test run, maybe a prototype, maybe struck in error or using a different alloy or under unusual pressure. And when one of those surfaces, the world pays attention. The value of a coin comes from more than its age. It comes from condition, rarity, story, and collector demand. If your coin has never been in circulation, if it still shines like the day it was made, that's a good sign. If it has sharp, clean edges, and the images and letters are crisp, even better. But if your coin has something else, a misprint, a double stamp, a metal inconsistency, now you're in a different league. Coin grading professionals look at every tiny detail under magnification. One extra mark, one missing detail, one odd coloration could mean everything. And collectors, especially older ones with experience and deep pockets, will fight for those once-in-a-lifetime pieces. For them, it's not just about owning the coin. It's about owning a piece of history that no one else has. And sometimes, they're willing to pay millions for that privilege. This is where it gets truly interesting. Stories have surfaced about one version of the 1975 South African one-center coin, a flawless, uncirculated specimen with a rare anomaly that's been valued at up to $3 million. That's right, $3 million. It's hard to believe, but in the world of numismatics, that kind of valuation isn't unheard of, especially when the right coin meets the right collector at the right time. Now, before you run to your drawer and dig through every old coin you own, take a breath. The chances are slim, yes, but not impossible. You never know what might be hiding in plain sight. Maybe you picked it up as change decades ago and tossed it in a jar. Maybe your grandfather handed it to you without a second thought. Maybe it's been sitting in your garage, attic, or desk for 40 years, waiting for someone to realize what it really is. And let's be honest, for many of us in this stage of life, it's not just about the money. It's about the thrill of discovery, the connection to the past, the chance to tell your grandchildren you found something incredible, something no one else had. That's the real treasure that if you think you've got one of these coins, there are a few simple things you should do. First, don't clean it. That can destroy value instantly. Second, handle it carefully, preferably with gloves. Third, examine it closely with a magnifying glass or a loupe. Look for any unusual features, strange marks, misaligned text, unexpected weight or color. And finally, if you believe it's special, take it to a professional coin grader. They can tell you what you have and what it might be worth. There are people who spend their lives hunting for coins like this. They visit estate sales, auctions, yard sales, pawn shops, hoping to find that one overlooked gem. But sometimes, the greatest finds don't come from out there. Sometimes, they come from your own home, your own history. You just have to take a closer look. So next time you're cleaning out an old drawer or flipping through your change, remember this story. Don't dismiss that dusty little coin too quickly. What looks like a penny might just be a piece of a forgotten fortune. All it takes is one coin, one moment, one discovery. And now, as promised, here's the number that's shocked collectors, dealers, and treasure hunters alike. One rare version of the 1975 South African one-center coin has been rumored and even valued at up to $3 million. That's not fantasy. That's the power of rarity, condition, and timing. So check your drawers. Look through your old boxes. You never know. That tiny coin from decades ago could be your golden ticket.